Welcome back to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored. And once again, I'm joined by my husband because you're becoming quite popular.
I like it. Hello, everybody. My name is Sergio Carrallo.
I think they know.
Okay.
Okay, so today's topic, first of all, straight from the countryside in my parents' house. And we've escaped.
As you can see behind us, this is a picture of Caroline when she was little.
No, it wasn't. Escaped from my whole family who's on their way down for lunch, and we're hiding in the TV room. There's nothing like going back to your parents to becoming like, I am a powerful business bitch, and suddenly I'm a little girl hiding in the...
She comes out from the stairs and she just looks down to see if there's anyone downstairs.
Last time I was here, I got sent to my bedroom. I'm 49 years old. Why do I still go, by the way, but actually being sent to my bedroom is actually not a bad thing because then I don't have to do anything.
You love it.
Yeah, I can't bear it. Like the whole English thing is you have these country houses and then you have to do all the work inside them. Like I live in Dubai, like literally, I don't know, I see a thing of dust and someone comes and cleans it for me. Whereas here, like you literally have to slave over your home and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, literally, it's very different life.
And somebody comes to help you once a week. But anyway, I'm not complaining. I can just do this for a couple of days before I get back. I was meant to leave tomorrow. I'm actually leaving tonight.
I don't know why.
No. And I've got so many podcasts to do, so much work to do. But anyway, we're here. So today's topic...
Very interesting topic.
...was going to be why some men can't handle powerful women. And, you know... what is that about exactly? And I was thinking about it because, you know, sometimes within relationships, you see couples who've been together for a long time, and sometimes you'll see the wife supersede the husband in many different areas, really. And, you know, earnings, I think, is the number one thing that men just cannot handle women when they take over in the earnings capacity.
I think it's very sad when men are defined their worth by how much they earn. I think, you know, there's just so much more apart from that.
Well, what I've realized, and I think going ahead, because, I mean, not that with my ex, we had very different businesses, right? So we were so gung-ho in our 20s sort of to make the money. And, you know, wasn't that we were in competition, but what I do think it did was it maybe made me lose my femininity and my softness, which you always say that I'm very tough and regimented. And
but what do you think you were raised that way? Because most of the women I know and in your circle, they were mainly raised that, you know, society teach them that the man should be a provider, the one, you know, who is bringing the woman up.
I wasn't raised that way. First of all, I went to boarding school, darling. So I was gone from 6 to whatever it was, 18. But my father was definitely the man of the house, but my mother comes from a very, very well-known family. So her, you know, when my father had problems in business and all of this, my mother took over. My mother probably was the one who had the money and the real money back then. And
how did your father felt about that?
Well, my father had a huge business at that time, but I think later in life it became quite difficult, or it becomes difficult because, you know, obviously women, you know, then you have to ask somebody to buy something. Like I remember before I had my business, obviously, you know, when you start off in a relationship, you're very sort of, you dance around these things. I mean, I had a boyfriend many years ago in America, and I remember I had moved to America for him. I had a trust fund, but it only came in once every, I think it was 6 months or something. So I was completely reliant on him. And I always used to say I'd pay him back, you know, when the first lump came in. But it was awful because not only had I moved to another country where I was completely, and he was working from 9 till whatever it was, then he was tired when he got home. I didn't know whether I could buy a pair of jeans or a toothbrush without asking him, putting it on his credit card. You don't know how much is too much, you know, because you, at that age, you don't really understand anything about money and how hard it is to earn and all of these things. And I think it took all my, my power.
Yeah,
it took my power back because I was always asking something if I can buy something, right? And I hated that. And I thought to myself, I remember one day we had an argument and he said, get out of my house. And I only had his credit card.
Well, who said that?
my then boyfriend back in the
Okay.
day. We're not naming names, darling. There's no
Okay.
need to go there. And I sat on the doorstep for however many hours, and he was like, "Well, why are you still on the doorstep? Why didn't you check into a hotel?" I'm like, "I'm not checking into a hotel with your credit card. And next time, it'll be you that leaves, not me."
So why do you do that to me?
What time?
You pushed me outside.
Yes, but you have your own credit card, darling.
I know. Okay.
It's very different. And I pushed you out of one hotel room. Thank you very much. I don't lock you out of the house. If we fight, I say go downstairs.
Yeah.
I've never said,
I mean, a few times, it's like,
no.
I
I've
take
not
it.
locked you out of the house.
No, not to the house.
No. So, and actually you're an adult and you're living in, a place that you can get yourself home if you want to.
I know.
But everyone rows. But, the fact is, what I mean is the financial control of it, right? And I don't think, you can hold money over somebody. So what we do, I think, is like, I have realized in our relationship, when you split the jobs, you split the roles, it doesn't matter if, like, say I get a campaign, right? But in the middle, he has to do the back end. He has to take the photographs. He has to, process the whole thing, get the clips, do
It's
the
an equal work. I think when we
Yeah.
define the roles, everything goes to the same pot. But I think also it's interesting how society changed, because I feel like it used to be like, a driven man used to be admired, and then a driven woman used to be, like a bit too much, aggressive and like a bit kind of like annoying, let's say. And now,
I remember back in the
Right?
day, like if I had a huge business at the time, and I'd be like, my business was a business that never stopped. If you didn't make the sale, sometimes someone would wake up in America and want a sale of something, and I'd be the one that would, get the call.
yeah.
And I'd get up from a dinner table, and people would be like, "Oh, there she is. She's always on the phone.
Yeah,
She's-
exactly. That's what I'm
She's
saying.
going to
yeah.
go and she's going to go and speak to her girlfriends." No, I'm not. But a man has to get up from the table.
It's like, oh, he's busy.
He's
oh,
really busy. He
yeah.
must be making a giant deal.
And I
used to
feel like
drive me
that changed now.
Nuts.
I feel like that changed. I feel like perception now of like, women, driven and like powerful women is just changing. And now there's so many, women that are in such a big, status positions.
There are, and I feel like, but what I do think is when you have a powerful woman and you have another guy, the guy next to them, they always assume he's less powerful or less than, and the thing is, we can't, or in a relationship when you're working together, you can't do it unless somebody is like, if I'm in a meeting and doing something, or I'm doing a photo shoot and I need the children picked up, or I need, they've got to go to a doctor's appointment, or I need, anything done, lunch, the meals told what to make, the house has to run. It doesn't matter if it's me or him. That's the point. Whoever can get it done gets it done.
Yeah, but I think that works because of our age gap. Because I think,
Well,
like,
it shouldn't, darling.
I know, but
because-
a lot of like couples that are on the same age are in
well, look at actually. I
competition,
think Nat
honey.
Bowen's husband just gave up work to start working with her.
But that's one of the cases, rare cases that we know. Most of our friends, they're always competing with each other, and that's why it never works, a relationship, because at the end, you just want to beat your wife, and then it will not go anywhere. So I think that's why me, because I'm so much younger than you, and I admire your work, and I look up to you, I'm willing to listen, and I'm willing to learn from you. And that's why I think you are the boss, and you are putting the roles that I need to do.
But I don't think that's necessarily now. I think because just of the age, I think now we should look at this as, as a thing. So many couples are choosing to work together. Why?
So
Because
many.
Why would you leave the house, go and work for someone else where you could possibly push one of your spouses further forward faster?
Exactly.
So there's more money in your pot, which is all going to the same place. And it goes back to what I've always said, which is, instead of competing against each other, why don't you realize you're feeding the same mouths?
It's really switching now. I think, when a husband sees the wife really growing, a lot of my friends now, they are switching and they are actually, helping her, and they grow together. And I think it's so much, so much better for the relationship and for to grow as a couple.
I think people get scared that if it goes wrong, then what happens? They fuck their business, and who's going to get what? Well, I think, that's why I've always maintained, not because I'm tight as fuck or anything like that, writing it down every year or every 2 years and renegotiating from where you are today, it's much easier for both of you, so that if the worst happened, we would know how it was going to separate, right?
But it's
There are
much
certain
more.
things that you can unscramble and you can't. No, but what it does do is not saying that you're going to separate. It gives you comfort
Yeah.
so that you're not in this panic. Like, well, she's maybe the one, I'm pushing her forward, and everybody only sees her. What am I going to end up with,
But it's
right?
difficult. I think only modern relationship and a bit younger relationships are willing and able to do that nowadays. I think people that they've been married for like, 15, 20 years, they are so established into their own manners, into their own, line of work. It's very hard to switch and just give up everything you work your whole life to literally just work for your wife.
Well, you don't work for me, you work with me, first of all. But I think that there are different aspects of that. I think men are just scared because it's, again, this terrible, terrible trap we're all in, which is we have to live up to society. And if we weren't living up to society, I think the pressure would be gone. Like, I'm sitting here and, we're in the Cotswolds, right? And society tells you have these giant houses, you have all of these things, and you become a slave to society rather than a life. Like, we are here and, we're with people far richer than we are. And we travel and have a better life than they do. Why?
100%.
Because they can't leave these gilded cages that they've done for themselves, right? We can pick up and go anytime.
So true.
Because our house is lock-upable. We have staff there 24 hours that can take the dog. So if I want to drop my microphone right now and jet to the Maldives, I can.
Most of the people, they
can't.
put all the eggs into one basket and they just rely so much into that they cannot leave. They cannot, they're trapped into that,
Well, you love that lifestyle.
Which one?
Your Spanish society in the old.
I don't love it, honey.
Well, your parents are prime examples of
Baby,
that.
my dad is living in Bali, my friend.
Your mother is trapped in that house.
He's not trapped in the house. The whole family is in the house. So what are you going to do? Like, honey.
Sell it.
She cannot sell it, baby.
You
All the
can.
memories are there, honey.
There you go.
And actually, you cannot sell the house. You know why? Because inherited taxes. She has to wait until 65 and then she can sell the house.
Well, then she
So
should.
it's very different. Caroline, let me tell you, is this kind of person that she literally is like a piece of wood. There is no feelings. There is nothing attached to her. And she will literally
Why would
just...
you get attached to a home?
she will literally drop everything and just go.
Yes.
Baby, a home doesn't drain you, baby.
It drains you.
A home is a peaceful...
Sometimes you're holding on to all of these things that hold you back. How can you grow if you're so... And that is something with the older generation. My parents have been talking about moving to Dubai for so long that now they're too old to move
Baby,
to
obviously,
Dubai.
your parents are never going to move to Dubai. They are almost 80 years old. They have a life created here. What are they going to do? They just move to Dubai and just
Yeah, exactly that.
don't know anything?
Exactly that.
It's so interesting. And I think all, who you are today is being a reflection of all your childhood going to boarding school and everything, because there's literally nothing in her. Where's your heart? I don't see it. It's actually crazy. You have zero feelings for anything.
That is the problem, you see. Being an alpha female,
Are you an alpha female?
yes, I am definitely an alpha female,
Are you?
makes you insecure or
Me?
men insecure about being, a certain way. Yes,
I think I'm so much more secure than most of the men out there for allowing my wife to be the alpha female and for allowing myself to follow her lead and work together, but letting her be the face. And I think that's extremely powerful.
No, and I always say that you're very strong for that when people, and I think people are genuinely recognizing you for that now. Absolutely. I don't think anyone thinks you're my dog body anymore.
Because I love to play that, toy boy or that like dog body, how you call it, because I love it and I love to make fun of myself.
I think what you have done very, very well over the years with me has leaned into the shit people have called you. So you're like, okay, we're not, and I always say that opinions are like assholes. You're never going to change. Everyone's got one, right? So you're never going to
100%.
change it. So there's no point going one by one. But what I do think slowly over the years, it has changed because you just lean into it. You want to say that I'm a toy boy? Yes, I am. You always will be.
Exactly.
My toy boy.
Doesn't matter if I'm 40, Caroline will always be 20 years younger, older. So it's very interesting, actually. We just posted a TikTok 2 days ago and it got 6,000 comments and all the comments are like horrible. And I'm looking at people, I'm like, oh my God, how can you be capable of just commenting that much like horrible stuff when you see two people happy?
Yeah,
I don't
no.
understand.
I mean, they weren't horrible about you. They were horrible about me.
No, about Caroline. Always about Caroline. I'm fine.
Yeah, it's 6,000 comments saying that I don't look. He was going, oh, my wife looks so young.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, my wife looks 25 in Ibiza. And everybody's like it's just
25 minutes from 65.
It's so
I mean,
good,
it's very
actually.
funny. But I'm not saying I look 25. But anyway, being an alpha female, I think the good thing is, well, like, I couldn't do my job if I wasn't a strong alpha female. I could not. How could I listen to all that? I'd be in a corner shaking,
100%.
frankly.
I
and
think it's
not
a
being-
combination of both of us being very strong with each other and with who we are. But I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why do you think men can't handle alpha females?
Because they like to feel in control, because they feel like they're bossy. I think they think alpha females are bossy rather than assertive. And I think that the society has told them that it's a man's world, and men need to make the decisions. Men need to run their wives, and a wife should be subservient. A wife should cook you dinner. A wife should want to be a wife, and and stop. And and why do you think that your life is better from being with an alpha female?
I mean, it is much better because I think obviously because I'm 20 years younger than you, so I am willing and I'm happy to learn from you because obviously you have so much more experience in life than me. So I think it's a beautiful thing that, you have someone who you look up to and then she can guide you in life in many different ways. So, I feel extremely blessed to be able to work together, do what we do and travel the world. And, I couldn't change it for anything, but I feel like men on their 40s, or 50s, they will suffer a lot more to, like be with an alpha female and to work with an alpha female. Because, I mean, most of our friends, honey, they will never be able to do it because they are the boss, they are the provider, they are the big figure in the house who has to handle finances, who has to do all that.
I still think you can be an alpha female and come down and be soft in some areas. And I think,
you can.
Look at someone like Nadia. This is a girlfriend of
Yeah,
ours
but
who
maybe
built many things in Dubai, and then her husband is a very powerful
But
man
it's different
too.
because they don't work together, and each of them they build an empire. So,
but then when they come home, they're normal.
Yeah, they're normal.
She looks to have a very feminine role in that house.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know what goes into it, but in principle, they are very strong personalities, which each of them they build their empires different, so they don't work together. So that works pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But for example, actually, we do that in a way. Like you are a very strong, powerful alpha female for the outside, and then for the inside, when it comes to bed, I'm the one who rules the town.
That's true. But it was funny because we were at a friend's in Miami, and we were looking at how, because they have an age gap relationship too, how they run the house. And the difference is, I think, because they were in a new relationship, they haven't quite got to what their roles would be and how it is. And she was asking me how you do it, how do we do it? And we really defined the roles, because if we're both working as much, right, in different areas, like say that I've been on a photo shoot, maybe he's been on the photo shoot all day, right? Maybe it's him. So I will have organized the cars to pick up the kids, the food, the menus, this, or if it's me, he'll run out to Waitrose and buy everything. So the house still runs. We just swap the roles.
I think,
but somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't look at it today and go, well, I'm never doing this. We just literally swap and say, okay, like at night, we've got dogs, right? Every night. And sometimes I'm like flat out exhausted. And the dogs have to. I mean, Sergio sometimes goes to me, can we forget it tonight? And I'm adamant on this. No, because they're so bloody well trained, my dogs. They literally wait for us to take them out. So I am not going to not take them out. And, sometimes that's the last thing you want to do at night is take those dogs downstairs and let them outside onto the grass because you're knackered. But we do. And so we'll take it in turns.
I think if I can give you any advice, that, we experience and you're going through an early stage relationship is define or predefine your roles perfectly since the beginning, because that really will help to lead, and to a happy relationship, because, like your roles were extremely clear from the beginning, mine as well. And then when you were doing stuff, I was just trying to help on the way. And then slowly that was, a predefinition of what I had to do.
I understand. The problem is at the beginning, we're all pussyfooting around each other, right? Which is what I think happens in a lot of relationships. And you don't really define because you're all loved up.
It took a while actually for us.
Yeah, of course. And it's not like you go, you didn't move to Dubai and I said, here's your list of chores.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if I'd done that right then? You were like, we were like not even thinking about that. But you do have to have these uncomfortable conversations,
100%.
especially if you're an alpha female. female, because if you have a male that, like I did, okay, so when Sergio came to me, he didn't know anyone in the Middle East. He didn't have a job. He didn't know what he wanted to do yet, right? Which is normal because he'd moved to a new town, didn't know anyone. So, I had no plans for him. So by the time we got to a certain stage, it kind of it just happened by accident. You started working with me, really.
I think
he just started helping me out because he wanted to help me out, and then it grew and grew from there. And
I think it's interesting, like my vision into what I wanted to create out of both of us. Initially it was just kind of like redefining a little bit, and I think I reshape a little bit, what you built with a younger vision, kind of. And I think that's why, we kind of started to work together, and slowly we,
I made it incredibly clear that I didn't want him to step on my toes. I built a brand for 10 years. I never thought that I would have someone else in it. But then I realized, what am I doing? I'd have to hire or have a Sergio at some point. And now it means, because it's us, instead of him going to work for somebody else, we can travel together. We have all these experiences. Like, I'm looking at my mum last night, who wants to go to these places she hasn't been to, but we can do it and still do this for you. We're sat in the British countryside right now.
And it's interesting actually how the relationship evolved from that social media work to the real estate work. For example, now Caroline is, rolling all the apartments that we have in Dubai and rolling all the construction of the hotel in Bali. So the roles are very clear, defined, and, we bring them together at some point on different stages. But that's why we work.
We're both interested in what we're doing, right? So Bali, I don't get as involved.
We have a lot of passion about it.
Yeah, and I've got 3 properties under construction right now, and he just comes and looks at them, and then we check on who's in them, or, all of these kind of things. But I don't need him to decorate Dubai, and he doesn't need me, other than to say yes or no, to decorate or to do Bali, which means we can get twice as much done.
Exactly.
But we're in the same business. It's all going to us. What our only goal in life is our end of life. And I think if you have the same goal, actually that's really powerful.
Very powerful.
We have the same goal of what we want our old age to be.
And I think it's interesting because even though we have a very big age gap, our vision has always been the same.
Always.
We always knew and know what we wanted to end up, maybe in 7-10 years from now. And I think if you share that common vision, you can get to, anywhere you want working together.
And that's, never wavered for us. So I think sometimes, obviously, you do tread on each other's toes, or you get angrier, more frustrated, and you can have more arguments because the passion is there, because, obviously it's lining your pockets, and we have so much going on right now. Like, now we're launching our wellness brand together as well. And, that's also evolving because...
Oh, that's super exciting, actually.
Yeah, we're launched on the Vitamin Shop in America now. So very exciting. Check us out. But again, that is something that he has always... I guess you've never really been with an alpha female in your life.
Never, actually. It's interesting because all the women's, I had before, it was mainly someone younger or someone at the same age as me. But I was always, the man role in the relationship and being the boss in the relationship. And actually, I think what I fell in love with in Caroline's, dynamic and personality is how she is actually the boss in a way, and how she can, guide me in life. And I think that's something beautiful about that. I mean, you're kind of like an older, version that is always there. And if I need help, you will always, lead me into the right direction.
I'm a bear when anyone pokes him.
Oh my God. See, literally, it's actually amazing.
Crazy.
Every time something happened to me, I see the real feelings and the real emotion of Caroline. I don't see it often, but when I see it, she literally goes like a little teddy bear,
That's not a teddy bear, darling.
What is it?
Like a crazy person.
Okay, like a crazy person, just like a bulldozer, and just like.
No. Only I can pick on him, no one else.
No one else. And I love that, actually. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think that we having, as I said, I had it a lot, especially in the show, about how weak he was and all of these things, and the strength he actually shows by reading all these comments. And just actually, if you go and read those 6,000 comments about how awful I look, The funny thing is, like, he's my husband. He's reading them, and we just
Exactly.
laugh. Like, he loves me.
I
It's
love, 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 love her.
Yeah.
And actually, I have a very interesting question that I think a lot of people can relate out there. Do you think a relationship can survive where only one person is growing?
No, of course not. I think you both have to grow. And the thing is, like, the one thing, even if you're growing, you've learnt from me, you've grown so much.
No, I'm not talking about us personally, but I'm talking just
No,
there's so many people out there
because
that
you'll never be satisfied with life. You'll always be jealous, and then you're leaving someone behind. And then the one that's grown will never want the one that's left behind. You don't want to have somebody that's not, evolved with
no,
you.
100%. But I think it's very, very difficult because, for example, you have to share the same passion to be working together. So, if a woman is like an interior designer and the husband is a lawyer, how is that going to work? So it is quite complicated, to be honest, to share the same passion and, join the same journey in life.
Well, look at, let's take Bali, right? What experience did you have before other than
Oh, nothing.
nothing?
I'm
And
very
now-
creative.
Yeah, and now you are rolling 2 huge projects.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And now you can tell me everything about land, about
No, I learned so much, honestly, about soil tests, like all the suppliers,
Everything.
We have so many people working for us there now, and it's actually amazing. But you just put the big pants on, and you have to just roll up with it.
Yeah, so if you weren't growing and I was doing all of the forefront stuff and I didn't see any growth behind you, who wants that? That's miserable.
No, 100%.
Like, I intend, just so you know, to retire at some point so that my husband will eventually take over when I'm too
100%,
old.
I will take over, and I know.
Yeah.
My goal is to retire when I'm 35.
Oh my God.
There's 5 years left, honey.
Oh, no, I don't. That's too young to retire.
No,
darling.
just retire and let the money working for us. That's all.
But, I think if you are a strong man and if you understand the way of the world now, you want an alpha female beside you. I think an alpha female is desperately underlooked. Who wants to have a woman that just actually, where were we the other day? We were in Ibiza and someone was saying it was just mind-numbing listening to some of the women just talk about what Birkin they had.
Oh
and
my God, it was terrible. Someone was, I don't remember exactly, someone was mentioning it, yeah. Do you I have a question for you? Do you think strong women are scared or they're not really that much into weak men? Like, a strong woman has to be with an alpha male, let's call it?
No, I think that's a misconception. What I think strong women think they want a strong man, right? Because they're scared of what they think it's not a weak man. We're describing it wrong. Maybe a man that hasn't found themselves yet, right? Or is a little bit lost. But if you have a strong woman, and I've always told my friends that if you're a strong, powerful woman, you can make the man into anything you want.
100%, but as well, it's a bit complicated because if a woman earns more than a man, it can inspire him or it can as well intimidate him. So how can you put that together?
Well, we're not here to pussyfoot around, darling. I mean, I was 43 when I met you. I definitely earned more money than you.
No, obviously.
And so, what were you inspired or intimidated?
I was completely inspired.
Well, there you go. So that's a strong man.
100%.
And now what? Now you're like absolutely on your own 2 feet. It just took a minute.
It took a minute.
Right? But that's okay. And I think, what was it about you then that you felt, because you had all the little models, you had all the women running around that were just looking pretty and gorgeous and actually wanted to do Instagram life with you and all of this kind of stuff. What made you go for such an alpha woman?
I think, it's actually interesting because I've never, thought I was going to be with someone that covers all these things personality-wise, right? And, I thought I wanted this, very, perfect blonde little girl just walking around, just behind me, and I was running the town. And actually I got the opposite. And I think I fell in love with, extremely the opposite, what I wanted. And I think that's what really makes, me attractive inside me, I never wanted that woman, but, as I think, what is this thing that people say that you always get what you
don't get what you want, you get what you need.
Exactly.
And I think I'm seeing more and more and more. Actually, I was just texting a girl in Australia yesterday, the girl with the hair extensions.
Oh, yeah.
She just looks so happy. And
She looks amazing. She's with a younger man as well.
Yeah, and he's doing you can see he's carrying the computer.
Yeah.
Setting up her stands.
She's a powerful woman as well.
And that's another thing. If you're a powerful woman, you're traveling all the time. like it's nice to have the man with you.
It's
right?
amazing. I
So
mean,
I was watching her, and she was inspired by us a few years ago, and now I see he's come fully into the business.
they're doing it actually together.
Yeah, and they're
it's so
traveling
happy.
the world together, going to all these hair shows and everything. But he's making her life be possible, and he's obviously doing all the stuff at the back, and like when she's tired at the end of the day from selling all the hair stuff, he's doing all the numbers and ordering all the bits for her and making all this, and she's becoming more and more successful.
Look, if you love someone, there's nothing better than join together the ball and roll together, because you're gonna grow together.
And I really think that's what the best place to end, because honey, teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly, honey. Let's keep killing it.
Yeah.
And wait to see where we go, because
And I'm happy to be an alpha female.
coming
and
strong.
I've raised an alpha male.
Exactly. So I love it. Actually, we're like lions, honey.
Yeah.
You're the big lion, and I'm like the, how you call it?
The baby lion.
The baby lion.
The cub. The cub.
The cub. Perfect.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Uncut and Uncensored. And don't forget to press subscribe.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.